Well, hello and welcome people on the internet to Godforsaken, the new Diablo-like, Survivors-like. Okay, it's a bit of a meme at this point, but it does have a Grimdark theme, so, you know, it kind of fits. I'm going to be straight up with you right at the beginning of the video here, just to kind of give you my overall thoughts, and then we can kind of digest what goes into those thoughts. So, Godforsaken, it's an early version of the demo. I think that this game has really good bones. It has a really good base, but it's not exactly a polished experience. So if the devs are really good about kind of keeping up, fine-tuning this game, I think that this game could actually be really, really good. And so we'll kind of talk about that as we go through the gameplay. So stick around, grab a snack, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and have some fun. So there is a full equipment system here, as you can see. So we can have multiple weapons, you know, chest pieces. It's all randomly generated, or I should say all the stats are like randomly generated. So I've actually gone ahead and collected some gear here. And so there's a bunch of different, you know, different rarities. We have different weapons here. The text is definitely like one of those things that definitely needs to be polished. So, you know, we have a lot of like lowercase stuff, which does that affect gameplay? Absolutely not, but it's just kind of like one of those little quality control things. You can see right here, like I'm hovering over the item and it doesn't exactly always pop up. The stats you can see are kind of like code versions of what they should be. So like damage percent is DMG_PER, which is a little weird for in-game. You can kind of see the same thing if we go over to stats. Everything kind of is like abbreviated, so that should definitely kind of be standardized. Like speed is normal, but like everything. So like summons physical damage. Now there are no summons in the game yet, but those stats are all there. There's a full talent system, which I mean, I love a good talent tree, so we'll take a look at that a little bit later. There's a merchant that you can buy stuff from, and there's a little bit of a Path of Exile version of the shop here, so you can buy different items that you don't know the stats of. So if you're specifically looking for a shield, you know, you can gamble a little bit on that and maybe get a really good shield out of that. But let's just go ahead and jump in, check out the gameplay, because I think that there's actually a lot of goodness here when it comes to how the upgrades and the skills actually work in game. There's a lot of customization available. Now, one of the things that obviously there is accuracy in the game, which I'm not a huge fan of. Obviously, you know, when I attack in a game like this, I want to be able to be dealing damage. So there's a couple different things. One, of course, there's going to be different ways that we can level up, like with any bullet heaven. So there's going to be different rarities. We have normal, we have excellent. We have our base stats, so like we have strength, dexterity, intelligence, and luck, and we can choose which one of these we want to level up. So as we're leveling, whatever we have selected, so like right now we have strength, we're going to be getting a point of strength every time we level up, and we can change this. So if we want to, you know, change movement speed, attack speed, we want to change our elemental damage, or we just want to have a higher probability of getting, you know, excellent or legendary ratings, we could do luck, but we're going to stay on strength, so that way we're starting to get more health and more damage. But we can also get these stats through upgrades. So you can see like here, we can get 8 strength, we can get +3 luck, all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to take the +8 strength. I do have some modifiers here, which I have on my gear. You initially start with none of these. But other than that, there's also obviously going to be skills, which you would pretty much expect from a bullet heaven. And there's different ways that they upgrade. So here's some options here. Now, every skill is going to have tags on it. Those tags are going to be important because each of these skills has 3 slots for gems in them. So as we defeat bosses or we go around the map and we can find these books, there'll be different ways of modifying things. So for example, you could pick up a gem that says, you know, projectile based spells deal 30 additional damage, or 30% more damage, and you could only slot that into a skill that has the projectile tag. I'm gonna be honest, I think Bladestorm is, from what I have seen, one of the more busted spells. This thing is really powerful, especially if you buff it up. Now, skills can also be enhanced a couple different ways. The first way is what you would expect. They can be leveled up, which is going to give them additional damage. I'm going to take the stats here. Additional damage, but also some additional modifications in kind of how they work. The other way is kind of besides the actual leveling up system, they actually just get a whole new attribute, which is pretty cool, actually. So do we want more speed? Am I going to take strength or am I going to take cooldown? I think I'm just going to take, because we constantly get strength, I think I'm just going to take the cooldown percent. Although maybe I should have re-rolled that to see if we could get something better. Now, one of those things in the polishing category that I mentioned that I think really needs some work is the audio in general. Oh, this is a new skill, actually. The Hammer of Earth I really like, but what is this? Normal attack probability is released. So I think the game is from Chinese developers, strictly based on the fact that I saw, well, actually, the first language under English is simplified Chinese. Not that that means anything, but they actually link to Bilibili, and so I kind of I make that assumption that it's Chinese, but I could be completely wrong about that. So some of the translation is a little bit weird as well. So like localization definitely needs some work. Swing the heavy sword to attack the enemy. So basically, it's just a heavy sword attack. Deals 10 to 15 physical damage. Launches sword enemy that can penetrate the enemy. So it looks like, okay, so it's a sword attack that does a projectile attack. But Hammer of the Earth is really good. I'm going to be taking this one because it does a lot of damage in an area and it can potentially stun. And there's actually an upgrade we can take that like chains it, and it's just a really powerful effect. So we're going to take that one. We do have a magnet up here. I'm going to wait a little bit to grab that. The area is, or actually, let me hold that thought. Let me continue back where we were. Okay, well, we're definitely just going to take Light of Wisdom here, which might seem weird. Right? It's like, why do I want to take the intelligence? That increases elemental damage. We will get to that. Don't you worry. So the audio definitely needs some tweaks. That definitely seems like right now one of the weaker aspects of the game. If you can tell right now, because I do have the sound effects turned down, they don't seem to exactly line up with the attacks. It feels like they are a little bit, behind. But for example, like the music that's going on right now, I don't actually think really lines up with the gameplay at all. This feels more like menu music than in-game music. And you'll be able to tell once a boss actually does spawn, it's just like an immediate switch to music that I would actually think lines up more with what's going on. So I'm just going to take the throwing axe here because it's a physical attack, because obviously I don't want to be scaling with lightning or any kind of elemental because we're not going to be scaling our intelligence. So the boss music actually fits the game. I just don't think that this music, again, it's a little bit too like it's going to put me to sleep. So definitely need something there, but you know, there's no looping on it. It just like very abruptly cuts off and it comes back on. But again, like it's very early demo, so stuff like that is not indicative of anything that I'm like scared to see, like the game's about to release and that's the case. Maybe worry about that a little bit. Attack speed and accuracy percent, definitely I want to make sure that I'm hitting all my attacks. So let's move into talking about the accuracy a little bit. Why is there accuracy in the game? So there's two different things. For one, if you take a look down here, there is a sanity value. Now, I have not figured out entirely what the sanity value is doing. We'd actually come up here to this menu. If we look at the sanity meter, sanity cap, the upper limit value that measures the character's psychological endurance and determines the maximum mental load the character can bear when facing indescribable situations. So that tells me nothing. That is a descriptor for the lore of sanity, but it doesn't actually tell me what sanity is doing. Now, I have not been able to find anywhere that actually says what sanity is doing. The only thing that I was able to find is that when my sanity dropped, when I played in the, when I just played off camera, my accuracy percentage dropped. And the only reason I knew that is because I was at 100, then all of a sudden I was at 89, and that was the only thing that I could think of that reduced my accuracy unless I had some kind of debuff on me. So I think that the lower your sanity is, the lower your accuracy becomes. Now, why is that relevant? Because right now we're at 100 sanity. So there is a day and night cycle, which you can see up here in the top right. So while we're in the day, or when it's warm, as I think it said, but it's basically a day-night cycle, I'm going to just refresh all this. Yeah, we're going to 40% attack speed. Okay. And apparently this does not count as a boss. It also doesn't count as an elite, apparently, because there's a counter at the end of the game that says how many elites you killed. And I've killed many of these shielded enemies. So apparently this is just like a special enemy that gets a little bit buff. So you can see he's violent and he has a speed aura. I'm assuming violent maybe just means that he does more damage. So there's kind of a Path of Exile style elite system here where they're going to have different attributes. And you can just see them because they're highlighted blue. So I'm interested about this. So there's a tag here for raid and warcry. I don't actually know what raid means. But I'm curious about... Oh, okay, I had one skill slot left. I didn't realize that. So with the day and night cycle, this is going to tick down. When we're in the day, our sanity is going to drastically come back. However, when it goes to night, our sanity is going to continually drop. And so what we do then is we can hit Q and swap over to our torch. That's what our torch is for. Now, I'm a little bit torn on... Well, I should say this. When you swap over, you actually use your torch to attack. And so that is why having a little bit of intelligence is kind of a good thing. Because again, if we took a look over here, you can see it does a torch attack. And I'm assuming the torch attack does, well, it says causes burning and cannot be strengthened by basic skills. So I'm assuming that this scales off of intelligence, although I can't really tell because it's not down here. Torch cap, torch range. Yeah, it just gives you your remaining burn time. So not actually sure there. But obviously at night, it's going to kind of reduce your damage. Okay, so here's kind of looking at the skills, right? We can see how there's kind of two different style of level ups. There's the literal level up, which increases damage and then the number of blades, so you can actually see in green what's being increased. And then there's also this kind of upgrade where there's like this square around the text, which increases the damage taken by enemies by an additional 30%. So it's kind of modifying how it works. Although what's interesting is I don't see... Why is the Fearful Roar not down here? Because I would like to see... Oh, Jesus, I did the thing. Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. So here are these auxiliary skills or runes. Warcry range increased by 100%. Projectiles, I don't really have those. Skills, hits, reduce the target's lightning resistance. Oh, I don't really care about that. So I'm going to take Loud Voice. Oh, so I think oh man, okay, so I think this is kind of a bug here. So I think this is supposed to be the Warcry, but it's not showing up. Okay, so we'll do Penetrate, that's fine. So you can see here, each skill does have 3 different slots. We can take one of these, we'll put it down here. Yeah, so you see how Warcry is clearly down here, but for whatever reason, when we were leveling up, there was one space that was, you know, undefined. So like I said, it's definitely not perfect by any means. There's definitely some flaws here, but the base of what's going on, the ideas and the concepts behind how the game is working, or, you know, what they intend for it to kind of, what am I trying to say here? The intention behind the systems, I think, is actually really cool. You know, I like how all the skills are being upgraded. The skills themselves feel quite good. Like, they feel like they're kind of fun to play with. Okay, so here's another kind of square upgrade. I don't know what you would necessarily call that. I guess maybe an augmentation. When the blade hits an enemy, there's a 25% chance to launch a blade projectile at the enemy. So this just adds, like, basically a second attack on top of what it already is. So I'm going to take that because I think that this is, like I said, I've tried most of the physical spells that I've seen, and Bladestorm definitely seems like one of the more powerful ones. So let's go ahead and grab this magnet now. Ooh, damage percent, strength, and intelligence. Yeah, that seems very good. We will definitely take that. Okay, so you see how immediately, like, we get this boss music, and this feels much more like what I would expect the music to be like in this game. The other music just sounds a bit too snoozy. 5% evasion range, more gold find is kind of good, but I think I want HP regen. I've found success with really pumping up my HP pool. Why did I say HP pool? My max HP. That was a weird way to say that. Okay, increases the range by 20%, increases the number of axes, increases duration. Ooh, okay, so if we want to focus on this, that's pretty good. I think I want to increase the range of our hammer, though, and really use that for AoE. Oh, we got a hollow circle. I have, like, very few helmets. I actually had to buy a helmet in the shop because I just wasn't finding any. Oh, nice. We got some really nice weapon drops. Or item drops, I should say. Okay, we get some health. We get a new auxiliary skill. Projectile size is increased. Ooh, so we could make this super slow and super big. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, we're putting a lot in there. Maybe I actually want to have a chance of generating a tornado. Our attack speed's pretty fast, so with 25% chance, this is a pretty good shot. Yeah, let's actually take that. Let's see if I can actually see the tornado, though. I don't think I need the resistance. I'm just going to take the move speed here. Yeah, for how many hits we've done so far, I haven't seen any tornadoes. Unless we just have a really, really, really bad 25% chance. Huh. Blade adds an additional 50% of the base attack power as chaos damage, and has a 25% chance of applying poison. I don't know that I necessarily want that enhancement. I think that I'm just going to go for number of axes here. Okay, so we are in nighttime, and you can see that our sanity is dropping, so I kind of have to swap over my torch here. It makes the screen brighter as well, so you can see a little bit more. I'm actually curious to see, in the recording, how this looks. Because so on my monitor, like, I play in HDR, and so I'm looking at OBS, and the vignetting on the corners of the screen is way stronger than I'm seeing. For me, everything is much brighter. So if you're playing in standard, or if you're playing in, you know, a standard dynamic range, curious to see. I think it still looks fine. It's just not like, for me, actually, for what I'm seeing, it actually looks not as good as what I'm seeing in OBS, to be completely honest. I'm definitely going to take more HP. It's just a lot more gray up in the corner as opposed to more black. Is it? Yeah, so basically, like, the corner, yeah, okay. I actually like it a lot more not in HDR. Now, the magnet itself, I think it could be a little bit more impactful. These crystals are coming at you real slow. Real slow. Ooh, we get more crit rate. We definitely want more crit rate. One of the... So I can't actually... Okay, well, I'll actually demonstrate this in the game. So, that's kind of funny that it pauses in the air. So when we open up the stat menu, the game pauses. However, opening up the talent screen, it starts the game moving again. So you can't really check out your skills unless you want to die. Fear duration extends by a second. Again, like, unfortunately, it's not here. The war cry, so there's a couple different war cries that I've seen. I don't exactly know. I think the war cries just fill up any skills. It's a little bit weird that there's one over here to the left, so I'm almost wondering if the way the developers intended to be is for the barbarian to have 4 different skills and one dedicated to war cries. Excuse me, to war cries. So one of the things that they've mentioned on the Steam page here, and what a skill cooldown reduced, turns into a burning axe, causing additional fire damage. I'm gonna take skill cooldown reduced. One of the things that they've mentioned that they want to do with this game, and this is one thing that I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it, but they want you to have a sense of freedom when it comes to how you build the characters. This upgrade up here is actually a full heal. There are hearts that'll show up that give you, like, I think it's like 30% healing or something smaller like that. Oh, we are almost, oh no, we're not almost out of torch. We got plenty of torch left. We got 5 minutes on our torch. And then there's these wells that will fully heal you. Regional skill range or extra strength? Let's take the extra range. So any equipment item, including weapons, can be used on any character. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about that, because I feel like, you know, if you put a bow and arrow on a barbarian, it kind of removes a little bit of the identity of the character. Now, I do understand that there's going to be a talent tree for each character that is more so going to define how you play them. So, like what I was going to show you on the barbarian, on the talent tree, is that our first talent that we unlock is one that says whenever you crit, there's a 35% chance that you enter a berserker state. Now, I don't actually know what the berserker state is. It doesn't define it. But clearly the berserker is going to be built around crit. So you're more incentivized just to put a weapon on it, assuming that weapons can have... I'm going to take this evasion rate. Assuming that weapons can have crit on them as a modifier, because I'm not exactly sure at this point, like, what modifiers are, you know, able to be put on what weapons. Okay, we're gonna just need to take some sanity damage here, because I need my melee weapons to go crazy. Now, one other thing about the game is that you're not locked into, unlike other Bullet Heavens, where once you max out all your skills, and I'm actually going to test this here. Yeah, so there's definitely something weird going on here. Oh, wait, what did it just do? Did it just skip? Huh, weird. You can actually replace skill. So if you grab, so for example, if you're offered 3 that you don't really want, and you take one of them, you can then replace it later. Let's take more crit damage. Okay, I'm gonna start making my way up to this full heal, because we're gonna need it in a little bit. Now, is that the same one? That's not the same one. Okay. Oh, let's see. What do we want to do here? Increases damage cause, increases attack speed. Ooh. But again, I can't replace the war cry that I already have. So we'll just upgrade. God, I'm having trouble dealing damage to this guy. Oh, we're just totally screwed. We're just totally screwed. I gotta fight the boss on top of all this. Yeah, we're just totally dead. Okay, and then we get a, so you can see here, like, Bladestorm's doing crazy amounts of damage. Crazy amounts of damage. Yeah, there's something weird going on there with the Fearful Roar. Not quite sure. Okay, so we come back here. Let's take a look at all the different characters. So here's all the different characters that are not currently in the game, but you will be able to play. So, you know, you have your mage characters. Looks like you got like a paladin type character, rogue, an archer, who they all kind of look really cool, actually. The archer to me looks a little bit more armored than it should probably be. But no, still looks kind of cool. So a weird thing that happens is we do actually have to select the barbarian. If you hit back here, it brings you back to the main menu. I kind of wish it would just close the menu, but again, small things. Let's take a look at what we actually got here. Looks like we have the same weapon, except for this one has strength on it. There's no compare, which I wish there was. You can hit Alt and show what the ranges of the modifiers are. So, like, unfortunately, we got a pretty low roll on pretty much both of these. But it does increase our shield. So we're just going to swap these out. What else did we get here? We got a belt here. So we have summon HP. Okay, so now that I know this is for summon HP, I really don't care about that. Strength and reroll lock. Okay, we like that. So we'll go ahead and put that belt on. There's a little bit of weirdness too when it comes to dragging. You can't really drag and drop into spot. You have to click it and put it in there. So there's more armor. Don't really care about the chaos damage at all. What about rings? Damage over time. Don't care about cull time. So that's a removal. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, we already actually have one of these. Okay, so it's not a big deal to have that. There's also one thing I would really like to have for inventory management is if you right click it, it just autofills. There's nothing like that. So you actually have to drag in everything here, which is kind of annoying. So hopefully that gets added in at some point. Just put all those. Hey. Yeah, so you can see here, like, some of the wherever you put them is not exact. Now, I'm wondering if that has to do with resolution. I've mentioned it before that a lot of times with indie games, scaling on stuff like that is a little bit weird if you hop up to 4K. A lot of people kind of just worry about 1080p because I'm not sure what the numbers are of people who play at 1080p versus 4K, but anytime I have that kind of thing going on, that's kind of what I default to, is maybe that's the issue. So let's go ahead and try this solitary tooth sickle. Hey, there we go. It's a bit slower, but use your weapon to swing vigorously, causing range, physical damage, and a chance to gain extra experience crystals. There's also extra damage percent on this. So let's give this one a shot. So swap it out. It is a two-handed weapon, so we lose both of our weapons. But we do get a visual representation that the weapon changes, so that's kind of nice. We also have our merchant over here. We took a look at the gamble, but this changes, I think, every time you do a run, because this is all completely new inventory to me. You can refresh it for 200 gold, but I don't think I really want to. Ooh, what do we got here? Timber Cleaver. That's some pretty good damage. Summon crit rate and frost damage. It is a little bit better in terms of damage, but I think I like mine better. Light resist, shield max. Is that better? No, mine are much better than that. Okay. We did get a point, so let's go ahead to go to the talent station and let's spend our point. Another kind of, like, you know, strange oddity, like you have 0.74 of a point. Like, this should probably just be rounded up. It should probably just be rounded numbers. Let's see, critical damage increase. We could just go, so I like talent trees like this, right? Because technically I want to have the crit rate by 10% because you start with 0% crit rate. So this makes it so we always have crit rate and we always have a chance to trigger blood fever. But if we do that, oh, and you can see here gains 30% damage reduction while in berserk mode. So I don't know if berserk, I'm assuming berserk state has to have something. Like, it has to be doing something innately. It's not like you're just adding things on to a state that does nothing. But I just don't know what that is. So again, it's like, I want this. But if I take this, I'm not actively working towards this entire tree down here, which is really what I want to be doing. So for example, we have War of Words. When releasing the Battlecry skill, an additional shockwave will be released, causing damage to enemies in the area. We also have this automatically release an existing Battlecry skill every 6 seconds, which is pretty cool because they have a lot longer cooldowns. So like, I want to be working down here. So this is like the risk, or like the push and pull of a skill tree. I'm still going to go up here though. We can't always reset. So I guess the argument would be just take this point, and then once you get one more point, reset it. Is it free to reset? Oh, it's just free. Okay, so then it's definitely correct to do this, because then once you get another point, you come down here, grab Cruel, and then grab Deadly Attack, and you'll still grab that crit chance. So let's take a look at the entire hub world here first. So the rune tomes, the hub world is there's a little bit of weirdness here, but to be fair, it's mostly because it's an early demo. A lot of these features aren't kind of filled out. So you can see like a lot of the characters that you can play are hanging around, kind of like, you know, Death Must Die type style. The rune tomes, so there's a lot of these books hanging around. I don't know the point of them. So you'll see that there's another one up here, that there's one up there, there's another one up here, there's a bookcase over here that you can store books in. I have no idea what this is for. You can also do insights, and insights
and the light of candles tell the passage of time. It awaits those tomes that are discovered, bringing forgotten knowledge back into view.
I didn't hit skip there. That just happened. So I have no idea what this is for. Again, there's dialogue here, which, you know, it's kind of giving me this weird, like sometimes I can hit E and then sometimes it just kind of goes away.
Welcome, warriors of the north. This church was once the temple of the sun god.
These decaying walls teach me nothing but failure. And
the failures of the past.
I only believe.
And so you can kind of hear from there, you know, audio quality is kind of all over the place. She's super peaky.
Alhos is the follower of death.
Right? If you don't know what that peaking is, it's that distortion you hear when her voice gets a bit louder.
And allowing darkness to continue.
I see.
So it's like the gain was like very close to maximum. And she's just hitting that threshold where she's not always doing it, but there's definitely some audio quality issues just kind of between the two. They just sound like they were recorded in totally different areas. But again, like, because I don't know, so there was I'll call it an interesting video that's kind of circulating around right now. It's this, I think he's from BioWare. He's a BioWare dev, and he was talking about how, like, don't be cruel to developers. There's also some secret doors around here that will open up other things. I'm not exactly sure what they open up. There's a little bit of a video preview in the trailer. There's like one secret one that's back here. Oh, it actually opens. Okay, we're experiencing this for the first time together, folks. Oh, okay, so there's some special items back there, but I need something to get back there. Oh, what is this? See, like this, so this is cool. The fact that we need to, I don't know how we get these items, but there's some cool stuff back there. There's a legendary item back there. And I also don't know what this is. This is not accessible yet in the demo. Is there anything else we want to do in here before we jump into another run? No, I'll just jump into another run, and we'll talk a little bit about it. So that video, the guy was like, don't be cruel to game developers, like basically saying don't hold game developers accountable. Yeah, see, so like, why am I missing all these? I think the hitbox range on attacks is a lot closer than it's actually being advertised as, perhaps. Although now I'm hitting him, so it seems like it was just the first enemy for some reason. It's almost like there's a delay on when damage actually like starts happening in the run. But let's see, deals physical damage. Let's take Fire Slash. It is physical. It just has some fire damage on it. So he was basically saying, like, don't hold game developers accountable, especially, and this doesn't, to be fair, you know, doesn't really apply to the games that we play on this channel, just because we play basically all indie games. He's talking more about AAA developers. And, you know, it's just one of those things. It's like, he's basically saying, don't hold the developers accountable, hold the company accountable. And it's like, well, the company is still people, but they're not listening. So, but I don't really want to go on a whole tangent about that. My whole point to bring him up was some of the points he mentioned were actually pretty spot on. And that he was saying, like, well, you don't really know if, like, you know, things are placeholders and maybe we didn't get a chance to replace them, or you know, maybe the audio booth, like the microphone just died one day and we had to do this or that. Now, I think if you're talking about, like, in his case, he was talking about games that are fully released and are like $70 games. In that case, no. You have every right to criticize games that release in a state like that. The reason I bring it up here is because this is a first demo, right? A first demo, even, you know, demos in general, are not necessarily, I don't think, to relay what the game is going to be in its final state. It's more so like, hey, you know, here's our idea. We've been working on it for a little bit. Tell us what you think. Understand that it's very rough, right? I think anybody who's even like written an essay for school, right? You do a rough draft first, and it's definitely not indicative of the final quality. Let's take the sword key slash here, or chi. Yeah, see, so it's definitely a projectile. And so it's really just about like transparency from the company. Like, it's a demo, so I'm not going to hold those things, like I said, kind of in the beginning. Things like that, you know, I'm going to bring them up so that way the devs, if they watch this, can be aware of them and can understand like that's a critique on the game. But it's not like, man, the game sucks, never gonna play it again because the audio quality is dog doo-doo. It's like, well, no. It's an early demo. Like, they might even know that it needs a little bit of it needs a bit of adjusting, right? So that was the whole point that I bring it up. It's like, you never know. It could be one of those things where it is just placeholder audio. And if that's the case, and there is intent to switch it up, because a lot of things in games, you take a look at the early number of sword energy increased by 2. Yeah, let's take that level up. In order just to get a demo out there, a lot of times you have placeholder graphics, you have placeholder audio, and so I might be mentioning something that the devs already know, like, oh yeah, it's just there. We literally just had, you know, Amy from accounting, like, you know, we might just had her, stuck her in the broom closet and been like, hey, record this on my iPhone. We just need an audio file to plug in. Because as someone who, you know, I work in case you guys don't know, I work in commercial production for my day job. And one of the things that we do fairly often is we create things called spec spots. And a spec spot, so how does chaining work here? Let's see. What else do we want? Let's take this, let's take the frost hammer, maybe. I mean, I do like this because it stuns, but we can maybe get some frozen damage. It's also a shorter cooldown time. So we do things called spec spots, and spec spots are basically like a super rough cut commercial that we use to kind of sell to clients. So for example, if a client, let's say there's a new, I don't know, sandwich shop. We don't really do sandwich shops, but anyway, just follow me here. There's a new sandwich shop that opens, and one of our salespeople goes to them and is like, hey, you know, you're new in the area. Have you thought about doing television commercials? And they're like, oh, no, we haven't really thought about that, but what would a commercial, you know, look like? Let's see. Let's actually just refresh this. Well, we could take frost. We only have one skill that does frost damage. Ooh, armor penetration and thorns cooldown. Let's take the cooldown. You know, they go, well, what would a commercial look like? And so we're not going to just create a, you know, we're not going to go there, shoot a commercial and be like, yeah, this is what it would look like. This is the final product, right? So instead what we do is we make a spec spot, and that spec spot, maximum movement distance of the energy, skill cooldown. We like skill cooldowns. And so what we'll typically do is we'll go to a website like Storyblocks that has a lot of stock footage and find shots that are, you know, they fit, they might not be exact, right? But it's just a placeholder to say like, hey, this is kind of what we would do. You know, take like some of the actions that are happening. So maybe there's a shot of like a waiter putting a sandwich on a table in front of a client or a customer, or there's a shot of someone putting meat on a sandwich, right? Stuff like that. But we'll come obviously film it at your location. You know, we'll, you know, it'll be your food. It'll be your, you know, customers. Maybe we have a fill in for a customer, right? But the whole idea is just to get the point across to the client as to what it would potentially look like. And maybe we throw like some graphics on it that are, you know, their phone number, their location, so that way they can see like, oh, this is kind of an idea of what they want to do for graphics on screen. Hello. And so I would assume that a lot of developers do the same thing when it comes to, you know, demos for their game, because anything costs money, right? When it comes to asset production, when it comes to audio production, when it comes to getting voice actors, when it comes to generating the art, doing the 3D models, all that stuff costs money because you got to hire the people to do it. What do we want to do here? I feel like I want to do this. Sword energy has a knockback effect. Enemies killed by fire slash will produce a small-scale fire explosion. Ooh, love to see it. Do we want crit damage? Armor? Actually, I'm going to take solid defense. And so that kind of, you know, circles us back around to what I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, is that when you look at a like, I think demos are a bit different from early access. I think when you put a game into early access and you're expecting people to pay money for it, you gotta be in a bit more, closer to finalized state than a demo. A demo, I am all okay with some jank, to put it in terms of a recent creative director on a AAA game that expected $70, or actually $90 if you wanted the quote-unquote physical copy. And it was worse than a 20-year-old video game, Oblivion. Anyway, let's take Victoria's Cry here, I think. So a demo, I'm totally fine with, because it's really just about getting the concept out there, as opposed to saying, hey, here's our finalized product. And so again, to loop it back to what I was saying at the very beginning, that's why I think that this game does actually have really good bones. You know, but the joints holding it together, the tendons holding it together, like this right here. Why can't I pick this up? Am I full? No. So why can't I pick up this belt? So, you know, like, you know, hitboxes there are a little bit weird. Sometimes you can pick things up. We kind of saw the same thing with the dialogue options earlier. There's some weirdness there. Actually, we're good on sanity. Let's go ahead and flip it over. See if we can get some more experience. Fire knife marks are left on the ground, causing physical damage and fire damage to enemies in the path for every 2 seconds. Or, this is a new one, just heavy attack. We'd have to replace something, though. Let's just increase the damage, I think. Yeah, what is raid probability? Oh, there's a 10% chance to instantly kill the enemy. Was that there before? I don't think that was there before. Don't treat me like a donkey. Okay, that means we have no space. Let's go ahead and shift some stuff over. Actually, let's do this. Come on. There we go. We could get fire damage. I think I'm just going to go strength and dex. You could also just get crit damage. See, so I can't open up my stats here, otherwise I'm gonna make the game play out. We did get that legendary crit, so let's actually go for crit damage. Right now I can open it up. Crit damage is 209. Our crit chance is, yeah, 34. Yeah, so like, is that because, hang on, so we have 34%, but this says 35. So is this, okay, so is this an issue because there's a rounding issue? Because this is 30, that says 210. So is this dropping because our sanity is lower? Or is this lower because there's a rounding issue? Like, as we saw with the experience for a talent tree, it's using a lot of this down to the hundredths place for decimals. So is it rounding weird? So, like, the 35% is rounding correctly, but the 34% is rounding incorrectly? Don't exactly know. Okay, let's go ahead and get the kill here, because I think we're pretty close to a boss spawning. Don't exactly know what the time constraint is on that boss showing up. Yeah, so I don't want either of these, so I'm going to take the slash. Ooh, huge projectiles. We don't care about poison. Elemental damage or skill, so let's actually put that on our flame slash. And let's head this way, and we're going to grab the augmentation. So let's take a look. Is our accuracy down? It's still at 100%. Okay, so maybe I don't exactly know what the sanity value is doing. It looks like it's a part of our health pool, but maybe is sanity affecting our max HP maybe? Impossible. Well, I want them all. I want them all. I want them all. Oh, I still can't pick it up. Okay, so it is 4. How do I fit a 4 slot in here? Well, that did nothing. Can I fit a 4 slot in here based on what I already have? I can fit a 3. Grab the freaking axe, you dingus. I think I have to get rid of something. Is this even good? Get out of here. Okay, where's our thing we were hunting? Okay, it's down here. Okay, it's almost day, so we don't have to worry about that anymore. I think we're going to just take armor and health. Area damage increased by 40%. The area's reduced. We do have a couple... No, we just have the one area. Regional skills. 50% chance... and 50... Regional skills, 50 and chance to be released. So I'm guessing that means 50% chance to be released in additional time. Pop that in there. Another mall. Let's see. Is this maul any good? Frost damage. God, I wish escape would just close that menu out. Rather than opening up the in-game menu. So just to have some like contextual menu options. Sword energy length increased by 30% and increases the damage. Blade trap is interesting. But again, there's some kind of bug going on here. Let's just take the level 3. Let's increase the damage. I mean, I guess we take fire damage. Why did it just get so bright? Oh, because it just became day. This guy's like a full-on abomination. Let's get some more luck. And pickup range. Ooh, hang on. I want the helmet. Yeah, get out of here, you dingus. Oh, we got a couple purple drops. Nice. Skills deal an additional 50 damage. No, skill fires 2 additional projectiles. Give me my purples. Work ride duration. Yeah, we'll take that. Give me my purples. Can't even pick up the helmet? Crit rate. Oh, god dang, dude. That's so good. That's so good. Get rid of it. Actually, do I want that? No, it's bad. Get rid of it. God, my muscle memory, man. Give me the purple helmet. Is that better than what I already have? This has shield max, light and resist, thorns, dex, light, and it has 59 armor. I actually don't know if that's better, because I don't know how much, like, so if we check out, where's armor? Reduce physical damage taken by 12 point, oh god. Okay, you need a frick ton of armor. So, only getting, like, additional 7 armor, or whatever the percentage was, I don't think is actually that good. Let's get more shield. Right, the more shield we have, we don't really have a lot of extra shield regeneration, so it's probably going to be pretty slow. Can I fit that in anywhere? I suppose I could take out the Twilight Staff. Actually, let's get rid of this. There's also, I will say, there's some performance issues. So I haven't noticed it. It started happening right now where there's some hiccups in, like, not frame generation. What am I trying to say? But just like there's definitely some lag spikes, which I honestly haven't noticed with playing in this video. But if we make it, there is another boss that shows up within the next couple minutes. And I noticed that my game was slowing down a ton. So we'll see if that pops up again. Adds a burning effect. Deals damage range increases. Or do we want to apply bleed? I feel like I want to apply bleed. Oh, we got our first magnet. All right, let's go ahead and grab that. HP regen, it's pretty small. Let's go ahead and remove frost damage. I'm actually going to take the frost damage because we actually are, I mean, it's still only level 1. Because I'm not really entirely sure. I'm gonna remove this. I'm not entirely sure how the damage modifiers are being calculated. So, because we have frost damage %, but we took flat frost damage. So, is that increasing this to be, so it would actually be 10 to 15 damage? I'm not sure, because I don't see, like I said, I see the percentage, but I don't see the flat frost damage, how that's being applied. More crit rate to burning enemies. Attack power increased by an additional 20 points. Attack speed increased. I can't even read this. The blood volume of beheading increased. So maybe it increases the chance to instantly kill. Frost damage % and frost penetration %. Okay. So I'd really like to get... I think we're going to grab some speed. Really like to grab a bunch of HP regens. That way we can regenerate a bunch of health while our shield is active. Melee skills that hit an enemy cause damage to enemies around you? I mean, that seems pretty good. Yeah, see, I can't read this anymore. Fire damage range increased by something %. Take Blade Storm. Frost damage increased by 35%. Okay, we'll take that. Yeah, see, and I still don't have any kind of, like, reflection on the damage itself, so I'm not entirely sure. Although, to be fair, I think it's fine if it's being consistent. So as long as we're seeing just the base numbers and then any modifiers afterwards, I'm curious, how do you guys prefer it to be shown? Would you rather, hang on, let me pause here for a second. So in looking at this, so we can see deal 5 to 10 physical damage, deals 5 to 10 frost damage. So it's doing both. Would you rather, like, see just the base damage numbers, and then any modifiers you have, you just kind of have to either do them in your head or understand that you have those modifiers? Or, rather than having, so you know how we have frost damage increased by 35%, skill cooldown reduced by 20%, would you rather just see those numbers reflected on the skill itself? I think, me personally, I'd rather just have the numbers reflected. So like cooling time, which is cooldown time, having that reflected, have that reflect the skill cooldown, have the damage reflect the flat damage we take. I would rather just have it shown, so that way I don't have to, like, wonder if it's actually being done or not. Let's see, skill, range, strength, dex. I think I'd just rather take the stats. Now, I don't remember if I mentioned it earlier on, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself. Increase your own crit rate by 20%. Hell yeah. The map is not infinitely generating, so there is a limit. It's a pretty large map. I actually thought for a long time that when I was playing that it was just like infinitely large. Can I pick that up? No, my inventory is completely full. There is an edge to it. All right, here we go. So Skeleton King. So this is the boss that I saw before that I was starting to have performance issues. So let's see if we still do. And these skeletons are a problem. They do big damage and they follow us and then explode. So we gotta be careful about that. Yeah, I just saw a little lag spike there. Oh, no. Yeah, see, they just like instantly kill you. So, who knows? Maybe they need a little bit balancing. That happened to me the first time as well. I'm also not entirely sure how these points are being calculated. I think I would like a little bit more transparency about what is giving me these points. Perhaps you're getting points just based off the character level, but some kind of breakdown here would be super nice. So that way, because ultimately, I mean, can you really, and there's like some weird, right? Like this is kind of like the funkiness that I was talking about. You know, I probably can't do anything other than just play the game to increase this. But for example, if there was some kind of modifier that was like, oh, you get more points for, you know, promoting a skill to level 5. Okay, well then I'm more likely to, while I'm trying to grind these points, to get a skill to level 5 than I am to take those augments that keep it the same level. Just stuff like that. I think I would like to have some kind of description of how this is going up. Kind of like if you've played Soulstone Survivors, there's a whole breakdown of like how much, where you're getting experience from and how you're getting that experience, I think, if I remember that correctly. So Sword Key Slash was doing a lot of damage, but we were very much balanced in our damage. And our Frosthammer was still only level 1, so that's pretty impressive. To be fair, we were getting 2 for quite a while. But yeah, see, like the music there, like, well, I guess that was the boss music, to be fair. So yeah, that is Godforsaken. Like I said, the game has some very good bones. I think once this game is like all polished up, you know, all the jank gets removed, the audio kind of gets put into a good place, having, you know, sound effects kind of matching up with what's going on. We had that jankiness where even though our accuracy was 100%, it still felt like some of our attacks were missing, especially in the very beginning of the level, although there was a couple times later on in the run that I felt kind of the same thing was happening. I guess one other small thing I want to mention, some of the weapons, I feel like they need a little bit more heft to them. So with this scythe, it's very slim. Let me see if I can find, what was the weapon that I tried on before? Was it a maul? Let me throw on a maul here real quick. Yeah, this just looks funny to me. It looks really long and really skinny. I don't think it needs to be that long. I would prefer it to be shorter and stubbier and just like thicker. This just looks funny. What about the sword here? Sword here actually looks pretty fine. Not really, you know, don't really have a lot of critiques there. What about the staff? How does that look? That looks fine. It looks like a bow staff. Maybe a little bit more flair there. Could be nice. What about the dagger here? Does that look like anything? Can barely see it. Looks like a little bit like a needle. So yeah, some of the, and you could hear right there, that's where the music kind of overlaps. So weapon designs, I think the designs inside the menu here actually look, you know, these look totally fine. But then once you equip them, like you could tell this design here is clearly not the same design here. So I think matching these would be super nice to have so that there's some consistency, but also just making them not as a lot of the weapons seem like they're very long and not very I want more girth. Give me some more girth on the weapons, because this feels like it's gonna snap as soon as I hit an enemy. So yeah, ultimately, before I ramble on too long, I'll just kind of repeat myself. which is literally what I said I wouldn't do, but very good bones, just needs a lot of fine tuning. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments section. And of course, if you did like the video, kindly remember to smash that like button. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more roguelite action. But guys, this has been God Forsaken. I've been Ganyonz. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.